Coming up, today we will be looking at Marvel Heroes Performing Arts and U.S. Representative Trey Hollingsworth coming for a visit at EJHS.
Hello, welcome to Colts Connection, where we discuss our school topics. I'm Hope Sinyard.
And I'm Frankie Allen.
Moving on to our stories, where students discuss their favorite Marvel heroes.
Marvel heroes are a very popular subject for many people, from famous celebrities to our very own middle schoolers. Let's hear some of their opinions about the celebrated film franchise.
Oh wow, who's my favorite Marvel character? I'm kind of into Hawkeye right now because of the new series that just came out. I don't know if I can say that he's my favorite though.
My favorite Marvel hero is probably I'd have to say Captain America, because he was like my inspiration growing up, seeing this guy taking down crime,
I gotta say it's gotta be Iron Man, because it's like one of my first Marvel movies I've ever watched, and he's been the only one that I ever really watch, so yeah.
Thor, because I like most of his movies.
We were curious to see how some of our beloved teachers and fellow students feel about the Marvel films and comic books, like who their favorite heroes are and how said characters are relatable even to your average civilians.
His favorite thing that he does? Probably that he rescues people.
Marvel was created in 1939 when they released their first comic book, and they created their first movie, X-Men, in 2000. Since then, they have been extremely popular across the U.S. and other countries.
Here, we will start to take a deeper look into Mrs. Millick's art club.
When walking through the Edgewood Junior High School, we as students see art everywhere we look.
The murals around the school, there are several. There was one here before I came that's made of tile, and then there are 3 that have been done in the past couple years. The first one is in the cafeteria. It says Colts, and we had my advanced art students in 7th and 8th grade create that in groups. And then Emily Talbert created 2 more, one in the library. It's a J.K. Rowling quote, and it's a landscape. And then she also created the very large one in the entryway to the new multipurpose room that encompasses all the things about EJHS. I believe art is beneficial to my students because not only does it give them a way to express their thoughts and their feelings, things about their lives, but also because it lets them use their hands, create a tangible thing that you can see the outcome of what you've created. And also because they need to be able to show what they're thinking, sometimes visually onto paper, to show people their plans that they're making. I believe my students are able to express themselves because we do a lot of different kinds of projects with lots of different media, and they're able to show their own ideas, their own styles and interests in their art. Even though we all do some of the same projects, there's a lot of room for interpretation, and they just have some criteria that have to be included and that allow them to learn. Typically we have a really large art club. There are a lot of 6th graders, usually 2, and last year we had to have a virtual art club so that some people that were off-site could join also, and we had us currently working on different projects and challenges each time, and also an ongoing mural project.
Like I said before, it's a really good way to be creative and kind of just offload your ideas, because you don't have to do the thing that's planned in the day. You can just relax, draw whatever you want if you don't want to do that.
Connor Busby from Colts Connection, signing off.
Coming up, we're taking a look at Edgewood Performing Arts, including show choir, jazz band, and more.
Here at Edgewood Junior High School, the performing arts classes have been getting back into tune after a 2-year-long pandemic. Here's what the teachers and students have to say about it.
Last year, when we were on the hybrid schedule, it was very difficult to try to do much band stuff with such small groups, so we had to do other things, like we did small group songs and things like that, and we weren't able to play as a big group until the very end of the year. So this year we've had everybody in class all the time, and we're able to already do concerts. I think some of the favorite memories are we used to take some trips like that and go to Chicago and St. Louis and had some good times on those trips. Each grade's different because 6th grade, everyone's just starting, and it's fun to see everybody, just learn how to hold the instrument and play your notes. And 7th grade's fun because we can start playing more advanced stuff. And then 8th grade's a lot of fun because really we have lots of music choices then. We can do a lot of things that we can't do in 6th or 7th.
I've been in band for 3 years. I've been in jazz band for 2 years. The year before COVID hit, I was not in jazz band. I was just a normal band, but it was different because we actually got normal amounts of playing time. Now we either have no playing time, so we don't practice at all, or we have a lot of playing time where we practice for hours on end. I would probably recommend you to just try your hardest. You can get, as long as you don't mess up, you can get an A pretty easily.
I make a lot of friends in choir, and I have a lot of friends in choir, and it's really fun for me. Probably tell them that it doesn't matter if you're a good or bad singer. You can always just sing, and you can always get better. You'll progress as you sing.
U.S. Representative Trey Hollingsworth visited EJHS at the beginning of the year to converse with Mrs. Jones's current event class. Here's how it went.
The students of Edgewood Junior High School were treated to an interview with Representative Trey Hollingsworth. Trey Hollingsworth is an American businessman and politician who is in the U.S. Representative for Indiana's 9th Congressional District. Mr. Hollingsworth visited Edgewood on the 12th of November to meet with 4 6th grade classes. He was interviewed and took a tour around the school. Ashton Crosley, an 8th grader here at Edgewood, was one of those students that toured him.
So Mrs. Jones came to me and asked if I would be willing to do that for her as kind of like a representative. It also worked out that in my journalism class, I was planning to cover the topic of his presentation as well.
Ashton got answers to her questions and some really great answers about his job.
He really, he goes around and he tries to represent our Hoosiers. He finds problems and will take them back to Washington with him and then try to convince his colleagues to help out.
Henry Norris was one of the many 6th graders that got to interview Representative Trey Hollingsworth.
Not really. I didn't know any of our representatives until I went into her class.
Mr. Trey Hollingsworth was brought to Edgewood because Mrs. Jones' current event classes were learning about how laws were crafted.
So the thing about my job as a social studies teacher is I always tell kids that you don't have to wait until you're 18. We have reps now that you can contact, and so I sort of put that to action. I said, well, I'll just show them.
And that concludes Representative Trey Hollingsworth's visit. Ellis Brohl, Colts Connection, signing off.
Last but not least, we will take a look at Mrs. Erickson's maternity leave and how she dealt with it.
Hi, this is Brianna Marco for Colts Connection, and today we interview Miss Erickson, who just got back from maternity leave.
How was the experience of teaching from my home and planning my assignments? So when I was on maternity leave, I didn't actually teach, but before school started, I had planned out different units that I wanted the students to learn while I wasn't going to be here. And it took a lot of time. I would plan the units when my baby was sleeping. And so there was just like a mess of papers all around my kitchen table. But it got planned.
With Miss Erickson during her maternity leave was actually interesting because I've never really had to step in that position before to basically run an entire class.
And of course, kids are also affected by this maternity leave.
Having multiple substitutes for Miss Erickson was challenging because they all had different methods of teaching.
It was fine. We got used to it after a while. Mr. Mitchell is the best sub I've ever had. I miss him. Greg Mitchell. Yeah, it was
I think most teachers will agree that like the first day of school is just as nerve-wracking for them as students. And I felt like coming back, you know, it was my first day of school again, but it turned out better than I thought. I thought I was going to be like an emotional wreck on the first day, but I was pleasantly surprised.
And for Colts Connection, I'm Brianna Lamarca, signing off.
I'm Hope Sinyard. And I'm Frankie Allen, signing off with Colts Connections.